So now we're playing as Scourge the Hedgehog, taking care of the last missions in the game. I remember on the first version of the Scourge mod that I got, that wasn't called Scourge Generations, he had, like there wasn't a classic Scourge at all. And you know what's weird? Is that there is a classic Scourge, and that he isn't blue. Because, yeah, it is really weird how the game glitches out and decides to not give me music at all. And that's not even the only time this happens. The Blaze mission is pretty normal. Like, it works fine. You just press Y near fire, and she gets rid of the fire for you. I'm not sure why we can't just play as Blaze, since she has the same powers as Sonic, except the Y button is the get rid of fire button. Really goes to show you how much they were playing it safe. But yeah, the weird thing about there being a green classic Scourge is that that wasn't really the case. He comes from the Archie Sonic comics, and the reason that he turned green is because, well, he's Sonic's evil twin, but he absorbed the power of the Master Emerald, and that's why he's green. Because he's absorbed his power permanently. So, there you go. Like, he only did that, like, when he was a teenager, so he looked just like Sonic when he was a kid. So it's kind of weird. Like, I guess they wanted to make absolutely sure that people knew that they were playing as Scourge, not just a classic Sonic in a leather jacket, which would have looked kind of cute. I don't know. But yeah, this is an alright mission. It was just ominous, playing it in complete silence. Like, it's kind of, well, works for what exactly wait, was I just walking on air? Or was I just walking on a thin ledge and couldn't see the ground below me? But anyways, it is kind of ominous considering we're living in a doomed, apocalyptic, burning city. Of course, there would be no music for the atmosphere, I guess. But yeah, most of the time when I play Generations, I play as Scourge. Because I just think that he looks really cool. I don't really know about his character. Here's the interesting thing about Sonic. He's an anti-hero. Like, he's not supposed to be bland, nice guy like Mario, where he's just happy and wahoo. You know? So, I mean, I want Sonic to be sympathetic in the sense that, well, he doesn't have to be nice to everyone, but he should at least be nice to his actual friends, like Tails. So, like I'm okay with Sonic being a jerk most of the time because he's an anti-hero. And so Scourge being his evil twin, it's good for deconstructing his character, that jerk aspect of him, by making him more realistically turn out to be a criminal. Because you get a reckless, selfish, adventurous thrill seeker, and that's probably what's going to result. I mean, Scourge came from a world with no dangerous villain constantly wreaking havoc like Eggman, so it makes sense that he would just become a criminal instead, just to get his thrills. That and the fact that he wanted to get his parents' attention because they were probably like really busy working, and his father was also the ruler of the entire planet, so he was busy in that sense. But anyways, this mission is really annoying, and you can tell by the death montage at the beginning of it. You basically have to focus on getting a bunch of rings. The time limit isn't really that great, and the annoying thing is once you get enough rings, you still have to get to the goal. And of course, if you get hit even once, you might as well rage quit right then and there, because you lose rings from doing that. So this mission is surprisingly annoying. But yeah, like there are multiple different interpretations of Sonic's character. Like there's the Fleetway interpretation, the Fleetway British comics, and that's actually very similar to the Japanese animated movie, the Sonic OVA. That has Sonic also being a jerk. Like one of his very first line of that was "Shut up, Tails," when Tails was like surfing and he was scared because he was in danger. So Sonic can be a jerk. but he can like he's only really a hero because there's a villain for him to fight, and he got used to fighting a villain, and he got addicted to the whole, hey, I'm a hero, and people are treating me like one. I like that, so I'm gonna keep doing that. Like it even says in his theme song in SA1, it's not really about right or wrong for him necessarily. He just does what he wants, and it's just we're lucky that he's a hero. But you should also have a nice side to him too, so when he's not an insufferable jerk. But anyways, this, aside from that annoying cheap pickaxe throwing at me, aside from that, this is my favorite mission in the game. I mean, I just love how creative it uses all of the elemental shields, and like the elemental shield monitors respawn. That was really padding. But yeah, the monitors infinitely respawn, so you don't have to worry about getting locked out and unable to beat the game. You basically take advantage of the fact that the elemental shields make you immune to certain hazards, and use that to beat the level. And this is obviously the classic Tails mod. He looks really cute. Unfortunately, he can't fly, which kind of defeats the purpose of playing them. And like, he's kind of unfinished. Like when he's hanging off something, he looks really weird, like with his eyes closed and him smiling, and his limbs are actually detached from him, which I'm going to show off in an extra part in that awful Rising Balloons mission. And he also looks that way on the title screen, glaringly enough, so I had to actually delete the title screen classic Tails image file. But yeah, he's really cute, and I'm at the point where I'm never going to play as like normal classic Sonic again. Like I'm always going to either use this adorable mod, or I'm going to use Shadow to play as classic Shadow, or classic Scourge. And more recently, thanks to the Adventure Generations project, it provided me with a new version of classic Sonic that looks more like Dreamcast Sonic. Like even has the Dreamcast looking spin dash with the red in the middle of the blue ball. And so I think that looks a lot better than the classic Sonic sprite with its dopey smile and too light blue fur. So that was pretty nice. I mean, that mission can have like annoying level design, but for the most part, it's pretty fun and creative. It just like occasionally the enemy placement can be cheap and like guaranteed to hit you. Speaking of cheap, I just hate how annoying it is just getting those musical notes. Like sometimes they deliberately avoid you. And speaking of Planet Wisp, the textures for Planet Wisp's environment map are actually screenshots of the team's dev program. The 3DS version is the first handheld Sonic game on a Nintendo device to have fully rendered 3D stages and dynamic camera angles. Like about that, the dynamic camera angles sometimes make it easier to see what's ahead of you since it's all 2D for some reason. Like that's something I like about the 3DS version, is sometimes the camera is sort of making it look like you're running diagonally, and so you can actually see what's ahead of you for modern Sonic. But yeah, here I'm showing off me beating the final mission that I have all the other missions beaten, and this is the only one that's left. Basically, when you beat all of the missions of a zone, then you restore color to it in the hub world, which is beating a zone like its level and that's it. It just restores color to the main, like the entrance of the level. It doesn't restore color to the entirety of its hub world level design. And like that's something I haven't talked about yet, is the unnecessary hub world. I don't know why they decided that Advance 3 was such a brilliant idea with its hub world. I mean, it's not like you're going to get lost for over 2 minutes trying to get to where you want to go. It's only tedious to navigate when you're trying to go to specific missions. And like sometimes it can get kind of convoluted with the final zones. But for the most part, like the hub worlds are okay. I just don't see the point, especially since it's a 2D hub world. Like at least with a 3D hub world, you have establishing the world that you're living in and like immersing yourself. Because you know that you're in a specific setting. This is just a white void of nothingness. I don't see the point of making a hub world in this game. I don't know why you can't just have a normal stage select like the 3DS version does. Tails is the only character who races against modern Sonic. Knuckles and Amy race against classic Sonic. With Tails it makes sense because he's technically cheating because he's using his plane. Knuckles and Amy, like classic Sonic is closer to their speed. Like Amy is as fast as Sonic and Sonic Heroes back in the Adventure days, so that would be a fair race. Yeah, that mission could be kind of annoying. You have to make sure that you have enough rings at the end of it, and you have to make sure you don't forget. Classic Shadow looks pretty cute. Like, especially with him trying to look intimidating because he has his frowny face. It's kind of weird though, because technically there wasn't a classic Shadow. Like, he was just, like, it would be more accurate to have him, like, still in his capsule. Because he was a week old when he was ejected from the Ark 50 years ago. And he hasn't aged a bit since then. Like, he was born a teenager. So it's kind of weird seeing a classic version of him. This is much better than the fight in 06. And this actually helped to redeem Silver for a lot of people. Some people still say that they just hate him though. I think it's mainly because of his voice. Like, he was trying to kill Sonic because he thought he was the ablest trigger who would cause the destruction of his world. Like, his world was ravaged by a fire spirit monster in 06. And nowadays he comes from a happy future, so his fighting Sonic here is really weird. Like, for some reason he accuses him of being a fake. And it's not like he saw Metal Sonic. Or are you some kind of fake after the Chaos Emeralds? If he could have just talked about Metal Sonic, made it more obvious, but even then, why would he think that Sonic is a robot when he looks nothing like Metal Sonic? Like, his reason for fighting you is really contrived. But yeah, like, this is a pretty fun boss. Makes pretty good use of the homing attack and the boost. Does it really make sense that it takes place in... Well, I guess anything makes sense with generations. It's just kind of weird because Silver in 06 fought you in the actual city of Soliana, making you wonder why the watching civilians sitting there weren't panicking. I really hate this part of the fight. I never end up avoiding that, because it's kind of got the Sonic Advance 2 physics where you're always running, and so you feel like you're pushing through molasses, and so you can't really... It's kind of harder to dodge them than it looks. This is pretty cool though, but if you run on a boost here, then you get just close enough and they get cheat out of the hit. Or you get lucky like I did. The thing about Silver's boss fight in 06 was that he would literally telekinetically grab you and hold you still. And you had no invincibility frames from his grabbing at all. So he threw you against the wall, then he would throw you right away if you didn't. And if you ran into your ring, then you would get stuck in an infinite loop and would have to reset the fight. So it was a pretty cheap fight. But when you knew what to do, it wasn't so bad, because you would just wait for him to say, "How about this?" while running around the arena. And when he said that, you knew that he was picking up the tables and chairs to throw them at you, which meant that he was too preoccupied with that to grab Sonic. Because I guess his powers are limited and that he can only hold a certain amount of things. Even though he's blatantly contradicting that here with controlling a huge amount of cars all at once. But anyways, like once he knew what to do in 06, it wasn't that bad, because he just homie attacked him, or better yet, just slide into him. It was actually possible in 06 to get Silver to throw you outside of the arena, and if you went up to Silver again from behind the invisible wall, then he would throw you to outer space. The rivals in this game were all playable in Sonic Rivals. Knuckles is the only rival from that game who is a friend of Generations, as the others all fight Sonic for arbitrary reasons. But yeah, like, see? He creates such a huge amount of cars and just smashes them together into one huge ball. And he couldn't control that many objects at once in 06, even in his boss fight. He could have been such a better character in 06 if he was a lot more overpowered and was fast like Sonic and could still homie attack, although that would kind of, like, why would you bother with the telekinesis then? I mean, unless you could defeat waves of enemies all in one attack with the telekinesis. Yeah, I like Silver. He's alright. His telekinesis is the coolest power in all of Sonic, but that also means that he's pretty much required by the plot to act like an idiot and not use his telekinesis to make the plot resolve too easily. Because he could easily just grab Eggman, and that would be it. He wouldn't be able to do anything wrong anymore. But they can't make him do that, because that would end the plot too quickly. And like, in the Rivals series, in Sonic Rivals 1 and 2, he could have just grabbed Eggman Nega and held him still, but instead he kept letting him get away, and that extended the plot.